Okay, it is time for piano. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the fall and it's Saturday afternoon, so you know what we're doing today. We've got Adults and Teens Piano for today, and I'm thrilled to be here again with you for another fun-filled series of 10 lessons for this fall. We have a lot to go over and a lot to talk about, okay? But before we officially get started, remember to like and share this video so everybody knows that it's piano time, okay? And if you're watching live, go ahead and say hi, because I'm like watching the comments as we're going on here, okay? The second thing is of course, if you can subscribe on YouTube, right? So in order for you to really get the most out of these lessons that I bring to you every week, go ahead and subscribe, because that way you can go back and watch those lessons and go over those songs as many times as you need to learn them efficiently, okay? That's going to be the best thing for you to do. The next thing is, of course, if you haven't joined the private Facebook group, you're missing out on a ton of stuff, right? So put your request in to Encore Music Makers, so you get that one-on-one interaction from me, okay? That's where you post videos of yourself playing your songs, and I will provide review, okay? I'll give you some pointers, I'll give you tips on things to work on, right? That's where the learning really happens, okay? There's also a lot of fun stuff that happens in the group too that you probably want to be a part of, so. And the last thing is, I am on Patreon, okay? Patreon is a platform for creative people like myself to collect a steadier income, right? So since I'm a donation-based studio, I take your donations and create what you see here today, right? And I bring it to you every week. I believe in high quality music education being accessible to all, right? And your donations help provide that. So choose a tier between $5 and $50 a month, and you can help me bring these lessons to even more people. All right, thank you so much. It's time to get started. All right, so we had like a really busy summer, right? We learned about so many different things, okay? So let's just do a quick recap of what we learned, right? So we had, we had the sharp sign, right? So the sharp sign was the first thing that we had learned in the summertime, right? And that is such an interesting thing, because it basically means that you're going to turn your note that you're playing, you're going to play it to the first note to the right, whether black or white, okay? That's the really cool thing about this. Oh goodness, oh, it looks like, continue recording. That's okay. All right, so the sharp sign. It looks like we actually dropped the live video, but that's okay, because I'm going to keep recording and I will post and upload to Facebook and YouTube later. Don't worry, okay? We're going to keep going. Stick with me, all right? Okay, so the next thing that we learned over the summer, we learned about our G major chords, right? We learned about our 1 chord, we learned about the D7 chord, as well as the C chord, okay? So that's definitely something that we can remember from our music before, okay? The next thing is we learned about the pedal, right? We learned about the damper pedal. So that's basically, you're using the pedal on the right side of your piano, and you're pressing down on it to give a sort of watery feel to your music, okay? It really changes the way it is expressed, right? It sounds really cool, all right? The next thing that we've learned were the block and broken chords, right? It's quite amazing to see how those chords that we have learned go from harmonic to a melodic feel. It really changes how it sounds, okay? The next thing is, of course, we learned about that butterfly middle C position, right? And that butterfly middle C position is something very, very cool because it opens up the range within the middle C position between your left hand and right hand to play even more music. So it's quite interesting. The next thing that we learned were some new dynamic signs, right? Do you remember the crescendo? Yeah, so the crescendo goes from playing softly to gradually getting louder, okay? That is called the crescendo, right? And then we also learned the opposite. I'm gonna flip it over. We learned about the diminuendo, right? So the diminuendo, you start loud and you gradually get softer as you're playing through your music, okay? That's a really, really cool, expressive element of musicality within your music. All right. The next thing we learned was the musical equivalent of a dramatic pause, right? That's the fermata. You remember that one? The fermata is pretty cool because, again, you're encountering something in your music that is basically telling you to take a little break, enjoy the view, or express some drama by holding a note for longer than its value. That's what the fermata is for, right? The next thing that we learned over the summer was da capo alfine. Do you remember that fancy Italian phrase? Yeah, so the da capo is referring to da capo, the cap or the top, right? So when you see that written at the end of your music or somewhere in your music, that basically means you're going to go back to the beginning or the top and play until you see the word fine, right? Cool, very, very good. All right, next we have got the eighth notes, right? And this is what the, I think second to the last lesson that we had learned. We learned about eighth notes, right? And this is a single eighth note, right? It kind of looks like a quarter note, right? But it's got this little flag on it. So what it is it's basically taking a quarter note, which is one beat, and splitting it in half. Right? If we were to take one of those halves, it would be called an eighth note, a single eighth note. But you can also have groups of them, right? So a pair of eighth notes would take up the same amount of time or value as one quarter note, okay? I know it's a lot of musical math, right? You're doing great. Very good job on that recap, huh? Now, taking a look at our book, we're here in the adults all in one, right? And we're in level 1, right? So we had learned right before we went on break the song Standing in the Need of Prayer, right? So let's see if we can turn to page 77, all right? 77, and here it is, all right? I want to see if we can do a really nice rundown of this song together today with repeats and the da capo, okay? There's a lot going on in it, so we need to warm up those fingers, all right? Let's give it a try. I'll switch to piano view. And there's our beautiful piano view. Here we are. All right, so I'm going to start in a C position. I've got my right hand thumb on my middle C, and I fan out those fingers. And I've got my left hand thumb finger 1 on G below middle C. All right? Now I'm going to count off, and I'm going to play the entire song, okay? See if you can play with me, all right? Here we go. I'm going to count off. 1, 2, 3, 4, ready, and play. Diminuendo. right, bravo. Very good, my friends. That was really good, all right? Can you believe that you play this song? There's a lot going on in it, so be extra proud of yourself for getting through it, all right? Nice work. Now, we're going to turn the page, and you're going to kind of freak out a little bit because on page 78, there are a bunch of notes on that page, okay? This is something called Hanon, okay? It's a musical exercise for your fingers, and it helps you understand the relationship between different patterns of notes, okay? It looks really scary, but I promise you, once you learn your Hanon, especially number 1, which is the one we're gonna do today, you're gonna feel really accomplished, okay? Now, in order to play Hanon correctly, we are going to find ourselves in a C position, but both hands are going to start 1 octave below where they normally start, okay? So I'm going to take that right hand, and it's typically in that middle C, right? But I'm going to put it down 1 octave, okay? So let's switch to piano view so you can watch this. Okay, so here's my regular position, right? But now, since this middle C is where my right hand thumb goes, I'm going to actually put it down below another octave, okay? Now there's a pattern here that we're going to follow. I see the finger numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then it just goes back down. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that pattern continues. But if you just play it like your fingers are placed, go anywhere, are you? Yeah, you're just not going to go anywhere. So we have to introduce an interval of 1/3 between finger 1 and finger 2 to give us that movement up the keyboard, okay? I want you to look very, very closely here at this motion, okay? So I've got my finger 1 on my C, right? But then I said you have to have a break between your fingers 1 and 2. So that means I'm going to leave this D open. And I'm going to put my finger 2 on that E. And then fan out my fingers. Okay? This is what that sounds like. Right? But then now your hand can go down exactly how it goes. Each finger on a note. And now you see that my thumb, finger 1, has ended up on a D. And now you're going to copy that same motion. Have that space between. And going down. Skip. Skip. Skip up. Skip. Skip. This is where it gets a little bit funny, okay? Looking at your actual music, they have the C measure, then they have the D, then the E, then the F. But then when you look at where it has the finger 1 on G, on the second line, second measure, they just wrote 1 note. That's kind of weird, right? But look what it says in pink. Continue up the keyboard in the same manner. So by this time in the music, you should understand the pattern, right? Remember I said 1, skip, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, skip, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, right? That is the pattern that we're going to be continuing, right? And you're going to continue that pattern all the way until your finger 5 right hand reaches the G, okay, where that pinky is. And you notice the last measure that's written is going to be that measure, okay, with the G at the top and going down, all right? Now, I noticed that as I'm explaining this, I have only gone up 1 octave. Technically, we're supposed to go up a whole another octave, okay? So I'm going to switch back to piano view, and I'm going to do the same pattern, going up 1 more octave or 8 more notes, okay? So let's go ahead and do that together. All right, so now I have my right hand thumb on middle C, and I'm going to do that pattern, that skip. Stop, okay? We have gone up exactly how far we need to. Now we're going to go the opposite direction, okay? Keep that pinky on that high G, and we're going to do the same skip. It's going to be 5 skip or G skip, but going down this time, okay? Watch what happens. Here we go. So there it is, my finger 5 pinkies on that G, right? This is the start of line 3 in your music. Now the skip is going to happen between fingers 5 and 4. So there we go. I'm going to leave that F empty. And there's the pattern, all right? Then F skip. E skip. Then D skip. Very good. C skip. B skip. A skip. G skip. And we're going to keep going down. And the last measure, G, E, D, C, B, C, D, E, C. And you end with the finger 2 on that C. Okay? That was tricky, right? Yeah, the whole purpose of an exercise like this is to give all of your fingers a workout, okay? There's a reason why they wrote it like this, okay? It's really going to build up those muscles, especially in your fingers 3, 4, and 5, right? Because a lot of the phrasing and a lot of the music that we've learned up to this point, most of the melody is going to be guided with the finger 1 or 2, right? We don't really work on fingers 5 and 4 as much. So this gives fingers 5 and 4 a chance to strengthen, okay? That's going to make a big difference. All right, now we have the same thing going on in the left hand, okay? You can do this, all right? It's gonna follow the same note pattern, just the fingers will be flip-flopped because obviously we start with the C with our pinky 5 in the left hand, okay? You can do this. I'm gonna get into that new position for my C since it's starting extra low, okay? All right, let's see if we can read this together. Now, again, I typically have my pinky C here, but we're going to lower it 1 more octave where it's super low, all right? Super low on your piano. Now, if we're going to follow that skip pattern again, between my fingers 5 and 4, I'm going to have an empty note, okay? Because if you don't do the skip, then you don't actually move. It's important to remember that skip, okay? So let's start with the low C, and then we'll do the C skip, and we'll continue up, all right? C skip, D skip, E skip, F skip, G skip, A skip, B skip, C skip. We're remember, we're going to start on that G with your thumb, all right? And our skip is going to go now between G and E, fingers 1 and 2. You see the skip? All right, let's start going down now, all right? Here we go. G skip. F skip. E skip. D skip. C skip. B skip. A skip. G skip. Keep going down. Very good, friends. F skip. E skip. D skip. C skip. B skip. A skip. And the last one, G, E, D, C, B, C, D, E, and then on a 4, your C. Magnificent job, yeah. It really is all about the patterns, okay? All about those patterns, right? If you remember your skip between those first and second notes, then you will progress perfectly fine going up, right? But you have to know where to stop that and turn around and go the other way, right? So once you hit that high G, you know it's time to turn around, okay? Now, the beauty of this exercise is that you can take your time getting those notes and getting those fingers nice and strong, hands apart, right? So you can just work on the right hand for a couple days and then just work on the left hand for a couple days. But to make it even more extraordinary and a brain exercise as well as a physical exercise for your fingers, try it hands together, okay? It is so cool. And the best thing about Hannon, in my experience as a piano learner from a very young age, once I learned Hannon, especially Hannon number 1, it has stuck with me all of these years. I practice Hannon every single day because I know it's an excellent workout for my fingers, okay? It's a quick workout if you can get that tempo up, and it makes sure it works on those really weak fingers on our hand, okay? So as a final exercise for this lesson today, I'm gonna play through Hannon number 1, hands together, at a quicker tempo, so you know what it sounds like, okay? How does that sound? Yeah, I think you're really gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna really enjoy playing it as well, okay? Now, I have my C position to start, right? But I need to go down an octave, so I'm gonna put both my hands down, all right? Let's make some music, all right? Here's Hannon number 1. 1, 2, ready, play. That was Hannon number 1. Woohoo! It's a great workout, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's a long workout, but it's definitely one that's like a comprehensive one, right? It includes a lot of different things. And there's even like, you can try and play Hannon legato, right? But then try to play it staccato or detached or short, right? Try to play it forte, and then try to play it piano, right? There's a lot of different things you can do with it to really, really work your brain as well as those fingers, okay? Bravo. What a wonderful job you did today. All right, so that is basically what you're going to work on for this week, all right? Hannon number 1. And if you need a little bit of extra work on standing in the need of prayer, go ahead and work on it this week too. Make sure to post your videos in the private group, and I will check on them, okay? Now, I don't have any theory assigned to you this week, so you are lucky, right? Theory will start again very soon once we start moving positions and learning new things again, okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to mention, of course, just like I did at the beginning, was my Patreon, right? I'm on Patreon. Consider joining as a patron at the $5 supporter level or all the way up to my VIPs at $50 a month. VIPs do get some extra special things. So it's something that you may want to consider. Just visit patreon.com/IzzyGia and you can read all about it, okay? Wonderful. Now, just like I have in the spring and the summer, I'm going to do the same thing in the fall. I end every lesson with a music quote, all right? So today's music quote comes from the American rapper, Missy Elliott, and this is what she says. Music should be your escape. God, it didn't take much to say there, right? But it really means a lot. Music really should be your escape, right? When there's so many different crazy things going on in the world, music is something that's always going to be there, right? It's always going to help you feel better, express better, feel more comfort, right? That's another wonderful, powerful thing about music. So, thanks for joining me again today. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I'm sorry about the technical issues at the beginning. I know the live had dropped off, but look for this video on YouTube. I will post all the links that you need, okay? Take care, have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.